War Stories. The Whole World is Behind Us. Episode 2. Written by John Eaton and narrated by Michelle Sloan. The air was thick with angst and tension in my country, which nestles between our great mountains, valleys, and rivers through the vast agricultural plains of our hinterland. For years, our country's citizens had endured the oppression of a massive aggressor regime that had amassed troops and tanks on our borders, firstly threatening, and then seeking to overpower our country. They sought to stifle our voices and erase our history. Fear lingered like a silent spectre in the shadows of our vibrant culture. This widely feared and as dangerous pariah stopped any flicker of flame, eliminating any hope we had within our hearts of continuing to be an independent nation. We knew the world was watching, and that the world was with us. Amidst this turbulent backdrop, a young woman, Julia, emerged as an unyielding beacon of resilience. With fiery determination, she gathered her friends and neighbors from our small community, a place where laughter and music once flourished. We all refused to allow the war to dampen our spirits. We began to chant, our voices rising together in a powerful anthem, "The world is with us." Our call echoed through the town, resonating with those who had remained silent for too long. Julia understood our fight was not just for ourselves. It was part of a larger struggle for freedom that transcended borders. Inspired by stories from distant lands, she shared tales of unity against tyranny, drawing connections between our plight and those who had fought before them. Each story ignited sparks of determination, reminding us that we are never alone. As weeks turned into months, the movement grew. People from all walks of life joined our crusade. Artists, teachers, laborers, and even the elderly, whose wisdom fueled the younger generation. We organized peaceful protests, sang songs of resistance, and painted murals that told our stories of pain and hope. Once consumed by fear, this city began to pulse with life, as the renewed sense of pride ignited a collective spirit. Yet, the nights were ill long, and ice formed around our windows as snow fell on the ground, and the shadow of the repressive regime loomed large. Julia often stood in the town square, looking up at the stars, and whispered prayers for strength. She remembered the faces of those who had fallen, but spoke of our spirits being woven into the fabric of the community we were building, and could not be broken. Woven, not broken, was her motto. It was then she understood that while the physical scars of oppression could be mended through solidarity, the emotional wounds would take time to heal. Then came the night of the Great Demonstration, an event that would mark a turning point in our fight. Thousands gathered, our hearts pounding as they held hands and raised them high, united under a sea of banners. The air was electric with anticipation. Julia took the stage, her voice steady and unwavering. "We are not defined by what has been taken from us, but by what we choose to build together," she announced. "The world is with us, and together we will rise." The crowd erupted in cheers with every word she spoke. Our collective spirit shone brightly against the oppressive darkness. As the chants filled the air, the world indeed began to echo back. News travelled far and wide, mobilizing allies across continents. Messages of support flooded in, people were standing with them, our hearts beating in time with our cause. As the repressive regime faltered under the weight of growing resistance, Julia and her fellow citizens began to dream of rebuilding. They envisioned a future where pain transformed into strength, where emotions once buried would emerge as a deep reservoir of shared history. The physical remnants of conflict might be repaired, but the unbreakable bond of solidarity would genuinely empower them. In that decisive moment, the people realized liberation was not simply about overthrowing an oppressor, but about awakening our shared identity and confronting our fears together. We stood tall, not out of arrogance, but out of the realization we were a part of something much more significant. With every sunrise, we worked tirelessly, side by side, breathing life back into our town. We planted gardens, painted schools, and shared stories that reminded them of our heritage. The wounds of the past still lingered, but we found solace in the strength that grew among us, nurturing a community that would rise far above oppression. Though years passed, our town flourished, and Julia often reflected on our journey together. From the depths of despair to the heights of hope, We became a symbol of what it meant to stand united in the face of adversity. She had helped reclaim our home and inspired a movement that echoed beyond our borders, reminding the world that true liberation begins within, sparked by a collective spirit that refuses to be silenced. This vibrant narrative of resilience became ever more apparent. The world is with us, and our indomitable spirit will continue to shine brightly for generations to come. As Julia would say, the future is bright, and we shall see the light.